China's economy grew by a better-than-expected 4.5% on year in the first quarter.
More than halved in second quarter at a faster-than-expected pace in the third quarter.
A move that ultimately turned China into a global economic powerhouse.
Today we're going to explain why China cannot be a superpower like the USA. China, with its rapid economic growth and increasing global influence, has often been seen as a potential contender for the title of the next superpower. However, beneath the surface of its seemingly unstoppable rise, China faces a series of significant challenges that could threaten its journey to superpower status. In today's video, we will delve into 5 key problems that China confronts and explore how these challenges pose obstacles to its path to becoming the next superpower. Firstly, China's population crisis presents a formidable challenge. The country is experiencing a population decline for the first time, leading to a shrinking workforce and less productivity. This, coupled with rising labor costs and a reluctance to embrace immigration, threatens China's position as the world's manufacturing hub. Secondly, the real estate crisis has rocked China's economy. The property industry, once a driving force of economic growth, is now burdened with debt and instability. We will examine how this crisis is eroding confidence in China's real estate market and driving companies to seek alternatives. Next, the failure of the Belt and Road Initiative raises doubts about China's global economic influence. Despite initially promising investments in infrastructure development, the initiative has faced setbacks due to loan defaults and questionable investment decisions. We will explore the consequences of these failures and their impact on China's aspirations. The tension with Taiwan represents another significant challenge. China's desire to reunify with Taiwan clashes with the presence of the United States and Europe, who support Taiwan's independence. We will discuss how this tension, coupled with the ongoing trade war with the United States, poses obstacles to China's superpower ambitions. Lastly, we will address the internal challenges faced by the Communist Party of China itself. The consolidation of power by President Xi Jinping and the lack of diversity in policymaking raise concerns about China's future direction. We will examine how these challenges affect China's business environment and its reputation as a reliable investment destination. Join us as we explore these 5 critical challenges that China confronts on its path to becoming the next superpower. By understanding the complexities and potential downfall China faces, we can gain valuable insights into the dynamics shaping the global power balance.
And now to China, where the country has announced its first population decline in 60 years.
China is currently facing several significant challenges that could hinder its path to becoming the next superpower. And one of these challenges is the population crisis. Recent statistics reveal a concerning trend as China experiences a population decline for the first time, with an official estimate indicating a decrease of 815,000 people. This decline is projected to continue, and by 2100, the population is expected to reach around 600 million. The population crisis poses multiple economic pressures for China. Back in 1979, China introduced the infamous one-child policy to control population growth. However, this policy has inadvertently led to a demographic time bomb, threatening China's position as the world's manufacturing hub. With a declining population, there will be a shrinking workforce, resulting in less productivity and growth stagnation. Moreover, the reduced working age population will lead to higher wages for workers, making Chinese products more expensive. This, in turn, may contribute to global inflation as China struggles to maintain its competitive edge in the international market. Compounding the issue is China's reluctance to adopt a welcoming immigration policy due to ideological control by the government. To compensate for the diminishing workforce, China is increasingly turning to automation and artificial intelligence in its factories. However, this approach also comes with its challenges and costs. While automation can mitigate the labor shortage to some extent, it requires significant investment in technology and infrastructure. Additionally, the increased use of automation may not be sufficient to offset the rising labor costs. Comparing China's labor costs to countries like India and Vietnam reveals a concerning trend. Over the years, China has seen a dramatic increase in labor costs, with wages rising from 20 cents to $8 per hour between the 1990s and 2023. In contrast, countries like India and Vietnam maintain labor costs just above $2 per hour in the same time frame. The consequences of these challenges are becoming increasingly apparent as companies like Apple and Samsung are beginning to shift their manufacturing operations away from China. This relocation is driven by the need to mitigate rising labor costs and explore more cost-effective alternatives. China's population crisis is a significant obstacle that could impede its journey to becoming the next superpower.
Many here struck a deal with a developer, their land in exchange for new homes in the high-rises sprouting up. 8 years later, the homes aren't finished, the people here still stranded.
Another significant challenge that China is currently facing on its path to becoming the next superpower is the real estate crisis. The property industry has long been one of the main drivers of China's economic growth, accounting for approximately 30% of the total GDP. One of the policies that contributed to the crisis is the pre-sale market, where developers were allowed to sell properties before their completion. However, some developers became overly greedy and used the funds from pre-sales to invest in other properties, creating a pyramid scheme-like situation. This cycle continued as long as money flowed continuously into the developers' accounts. However, everything changed when the pandemic hit. China experienced a drastic boom in the real estate market starting from the 1990s, primarily fueled by people migrating from rural areas to the mainland. This urbanization trend accounted for approximately 37% of the population from 1991 to 2021. Evergrande, a prominent real estate developer, became the face of this urbanization wave and gained significant traction in the market. At its peak in 2020, Evergrande made a staggering $73 billion USD. However, the tide turned for Evergrande when the COVID-19 pandemic emerged. The pandemic brought unforeseen challenges and disruptions to the real estate industry, exposing the underlying issues within the market. Evergrande, being China's largest developer and Asia's biggest borrower, faced significant financial difficulties. This situation not only impacted Evergrande but sent shockwaves globally, raising concerns about China's broken real estate market. China's transition from a socialist housing distribution system to a market-based approach played a role in Evergrande's rise. However, the consequences of this transition became apparent when the debt problem reached a staggering $232 billion USD, leading to a crisis in the real estate industry. The consequences of the real estate crisis extend beyond Evergrande. The overall stability and sustainability of China's housing market have been brought into question. The debt burden faced by developers, coupled with the impact of the pandemic, has created an uncertain and volatile environment. The consequences of this crisis reach far beyond the boundaries of the industry itself, raising concerns about the overall stability of China's economy.
For a decade, the country's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative has been a prominent lever of its trade and foreign policies. By funding major infrastructure projects around the world, well, it turns out the costs have been steeper than expected. A new study now shows that many of China's loans have fared badly.
The failure of the Belt and Road Initiative is another significant obstacle that could prevent China from becoming the next superpower. Introduced in 2013, the Belt and Road Initiative was the centerpiece of Xi Jinping's foreign policy. It allowed China to provide substantial loans to developing countries, enabling them to build infrastructure for improved trade routes connecting China to the rest of the world. China has invested over $800 billion USD in more than 100 countries under this initiative, establishing itself as the world's largest creditor. Initially, the Belt and Road Initiative appeared promising, particularly during a period of global economic prosperity. However, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic changed the economic landscape, leading to a shift in circumstances. As a result, more countries began defaulting on their Chinese loans. Since 2013, China has already bailed out 20 countries with loans worth over $232 billion USD. Approximately a quarter of China's loan portfolio has encountered difficulties. There are two main reasons for the failure of these loans. Firstly, variable interest rates have played a significant role. As global interest rates have risen, many developing countries find themselves unable to repay the escalating loan amounts. This has placed a considerable burden on their economies. The second reason lies in the nature of the loans provided by China. In many cases, the projects financed by Chinese loans were not economically viable and were unlikely to generate sufficient revenue. Examples include Sri Lanka's Hambantota port and Ecuador's hydropower plant. These projects were unable to generate the expected returns, leading to further financial strain on the borrowing countries. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Zambia serve as prime examples of countries that have experienced the repercussions of these bad loans. These countries found themselves needing bailouts from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to address their unsustainable debt burdens, highlighting the consequences of China's lending practices. The failure of the Belt and Road Initiative raises concerns about the effectiveness and sustainability of China's global economic influence. While the initiative initially appeared ambitious and promising, the economic realities of the pandemic and the flawed loan practices have cast doubt on its long-term success.
The most senior US politician to visit Taiwan in 25 years, Nancy Pelosi, has said America will never abandon the island during a trip that's been condemned as a major provocation by China. The Chinese government considers Taiwan to be a breakaway region, which it intends to one day seize back. The Foreign Ministry in Beijing has summoned the US ambassador and warned of extremely serious consequences.
One of the significant challenges that China faces on its path to becoming the next superpower is the tension with Taiwan. Since its inception, China has claimed Taiwan as its integral part, while the island nation maintains its independence. Taiwan was initially under the control of the Qing dynasty, but after the Chinese Civil War, Mao's communist regime emerged victorious, and the democratic government of China was forced to relocate to the island, establishing itself as the exiled government of China. Over the years, as China's power and influence have grown, the desire to reunify with Taiwan has intensified. However, Taiwan has transformed itself into a global semiconductor hub, playing a crucial role in the production of semiconductor chips, which are vital components for various industries worldwide. China's interest in taking over this technologically prosperous island clashes with the presence of the United States and Europe, who serve as key allies and supporters of Taiwan. A direct conflict with Taiwan would lead China down a path similar to Russia's, resulting in diplomatic isolation and substantial sanctions. Such consequences would have disastrous economic outcomes for China. Additionally, the ongoing trade war with the United States further complicates China's position. The trade tensions between the two countries have escalated, resulting in increased tariffs, restrictions, and strained economic relations. This trade war not only poses economic challenges for China, but also puts additional pressure on its ambition to become the next superpower. The internal challenges faced by the Communist Party of China itself are among the significant obstacles that could prevent China from becoming the next superpower. Throughout the late 1980s to the 2020s, China's political stability played a crucial role in its economic prosperity. However, in recent years, there have been significant changes within the party. In 2022, President Xi Jinping consolidated power, allowing himself to remain in office indefinitely by removing the two-term limits for the highest office. This consolidation of power has raised concerns among many researchers who believe it could have catastrophic effects on policymaking. The lack of new ideas and the potential dominance of yes-men around the president could hinder innovation and critical decision-making processes. The consequences of these changes are already becoming apparent. More and more companies are starting to feel uncertain about investing in China, as they no longer perceive the country as a safe and business-friendly environment. China's policies towards companies like Alibaba and Ant Group have raised doubts about the government's commitment to supporting business interests. This shift in perception has led to companies like Apple, Samsung, and Foxconn diverting their investments to countries like India and Vietnam. These countries offer superior infrastructure, a more favorable political environment, and better business prospects compared to China. The exodus of companies from China to these alternative destinations highlights the declining confidence in China's business policies and the growing appeal of other markets. As we have explored these challenges, it becomes evident that China's path to superpower status is far from certain. The complexities and potential pitfalls it faces require careful consideration and strategic decision-making. While China's rapid economic growth and global influence cannot be ignored, these challenges highlight the hurdles that must be overcome to achieve and sustain superpower status. Join MBA Masterclass on this journey of exploration and analysis as we continue to delve into the dynamics shaping China's role on the global stage. By understanding the multifaceted challenges that China confronts, we gain valuable insights into the broader landscape of global power dynamics and the evolving world order. If you like this video, hit the like button and share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel MBA Masters Class. Please let us know in the comments which geopolitical stories you'd like to know next. Thank you.